Hello again, everyone. I figured I'd give you guys a nice update here as I'm right in between two Forever Cinematic reviews. One that's just hitting the channel, which is the one I did for The Crow from 1994, which was a very interesting experience trying to get that review done because of all the tragic background with the film. It's a bit of an interesting thing to kind of experiment and do different approaches. I had shot the intro to that one way, and then I had to shoot it a different way to get the right tone, the right feel, and the right vibe going for the video, because a lot of dark, dramatic, tragic stuff with the swirling around the history of that film. And so I didn't want to go on for 5 minutes in a deep, dour tone or whatnot, so I really had to kind of experiment a little bit to kind of feel that thing out for a little bit. So it took a little bit longer to kind of work everything out between how I wanted to present everything in that review, but I think it turned out really well, and you can watch it now on the channel and everything, so hopefully you're enjoying that. The next Forever Cinematic review will be shot hopefully on Wednesday, but I'm not really going to tell you guys what it is just yet. I usually like to wait until I've actually started shooting the blasted thing to know that it is happening, because every so often something weird happens. Who knows? But once I start shooting it, I'll throw some things out on the Twitter and the Facebook stuff, and you can see it on there to see what it is I'm working on. But let's just say it's something that I put off for a very long time that was originally going to be part of a franchise retrospective video. But after I did the Evil Dead Trilogy one, which is like this hour-long coverage of 3 films with a lot of detail, a lot of information and shit, I just decided I really don't want to do those videos anymore. They're really kind of cool to do them, but after doing Evil Dead, I just realized doing it with certain films and whatnot is just a very difficult process when there's so much to get into on certain films. It's a heavy workload of dealing with that and just seeing this gargantuan runtime and whatnot, just rapidly trying to cut every little thing out of it. I'm going to go ahead and kind of decompress that type of stuff and just trying to focus on this film and then the sequel and this stuff and all that type of thing. So be easier type of thing to get out to you guys, and I can focus fully on one film of a franchise and kind of do the stuff going along as like I'll do Beverly Hills Cop 2 and a couple things here and there as they go along. Make it a little bit easier, and I can make the entire coverage of the single film a little bit more all-encompassing, a little bit more in-depth, instead of this trying to getting everything rapid fire and trying to be doing so much post-production work it drives me insane. So the next one will be hopefully shot on Wednesday, and I'll get into things on the next update about various other things. I'll throw it in the review about little tidbits of randomness and whatnot. But it's going to be something I'll probably just do from the DVD itself, because the Blu-rays for this film, as I'm dropping thorough hits. The Blu-rays for this thing, the first transfer was really not great. The next one was slathered with this DNR kind of crap, whatnot, and just looks like shit. So, sticking with my special edition DVD of this film, but ending the tease right there. So I can move on to some things here, because Trent and Steve, whatnot, we did some doubleheader commentaries recently, so I still got 2 more commentaries ready to go to pour out to you guys in the next week or two. So Friday the 13th Part 3 commentary will be hitting later this week. You'll be able to enjoy that and just get into that thoroughly. And then shortly thereafter, might put it off a little bit longer, because Trent and I, we did the Out for Justice commentary. Just we're trying to throw around something else to kind of just freshen up what we were doing. Just kind of deviate a little bit and get something a little bit different for the channel going. And so we did a commentary on the film No Holds Barred with Hulk Hogan, because we're big wrestling fans from the 80s and all that type of stuff. And we just decided on the spur of the moment, go ahead and do it. I suggested it months ago when we were leading up to WrestleMania time, but SummerSlam's right around the corner, so that's why I might push it up just a tad bit to kind of get it a little bit closer and just kind of do like hashtag SummerSlam on Twitter, stuff like that. Who knows, but we'll see how things go in my flow of content outwards to you guys. But Friday the 13th Part 3 and No Holds Barred will be coming in August. And we'll be doing more doubleheader commentary sessions probably next week. Steve and I will be doing Friday the 13th, the final chapter, and we'll do Lethal Weapon 2. So guys, know, a lot of people are asking for us to keep going with Lethal Weapon a little bit, so we're going to, like I said before in previous updates, kind of jump back and forth a little bit, do a couple of Friday the 13th, jump back to Lethal Weapon, keep it a little fresh here, and just kind of get that mix going so we don't get too stagnant or stale, because there's just a nice thing to kind of break it up and whatnot, so we're not going on with just Seagal commentaries and just Friday the 13th stuff. There's something there to break it up for people who are not quite into that type of stuff, so we're going to get some things out there to kind of swirl around the variety of everything. And as we get closer to October whatnot, we'll figure out what exactly we want to do, how much further we get into Friday the 13th and all that. But regardless of that, guys, I'll get into media pickups here in a very short while here, but I'm going to let you know that things are going very well in terms of the fact that we're moving to a new place, and it's going to be like 10 minutes away from here. We're going to get a whole lot more space. It's a nice townhouse out of the apartment here, so I'll have more space to work with. Going to have a new area to work with. Going to have some nice blue painted walls and everything, so I don't have to just do this. I'll have some nice vibrant walls to work with and throughout the background to really make the place look really, really fantastic. And so it's going to be an attempt after I do this next Forever Cinematic review to kind of get some more little content put together to kind of fill in the gaps from when we're moving from one place to the next and setting things up and trying to get all this stuff worked out. So we'll be somewhere around early September. So there's about a month or so before all this stuff really starts happening. We're going to start packing stuff up, moving over, all that shit. But there's going to be a lot of days where I'm going to be moving stuff out of here, and I'm going to be at work for like 4 or 5 days or whatnot. So it's going to be a lot of time where I just don't have time for the channel. So I want to get a backlog of stuff. That's why we're doing a lot of double header commentaries, double feature type of stuff, so we can get 2 commentaries in the bag. So we can just have a couple of weeks where we can just put some content out, get back together, and do more stuff so we can keep ahead of the curve instead of falling behind it like we did the last couple of months or whatnot. So that's good. We're getting really kind of focused on track. Steve and Trent are really behind. They're pretty much the ones who are really pitching the ideas of the doubleheader, since they're ones they're ones traveling from Trent from Chicago and Steve from about half an hour away. So makes more sense for them to come out and just put them forth like in their 4 or 5 hours to kind of put some solid commentaries together and do more without doing as much travel. So works out for everyone, works out for the channel, works out there for their convenience, and just fantastic. So we can kind of get that stuff ahead of the curve and still have stuff in the bag where we're still recording some stuff. So it's a fantastic work process. I'm glad we finally got this thing worked out very well. So that's going to happen. I'm going to get back to try and do some mini reviews. I've been kind of having a little bit of a backlog of stuff I wanted to get to, just haven't had the time for it. So this will be the time. So I'll see what happens with the long form Forever Cinematic reviews up until this point. But I'm going to try to put aside as much time to do the little stuff to get it kind of laid out, whatnot, so I can just upload a video someday and just have it out there and keep the content regular instead of having like a 2 or 3 week fall off somewhere and I seem like I disappeared off the face of the planet again. So not gonna be like that. So we're gonna definitely planning things out very nicely for you guys. So media pickup stuff, not too much, but I'll start off here because this is probably, it got delivered today, but they probably dropped it off at the rental office or whatnot, so I'll have to grab it tomorrow. But I did end up scoring my Return of the Jedi widescreen Laserdisc. Some guy was fantastically, he's in like the north suburbs of Chicago, so he shipped it out Saturday, arrived today at medium mail, which is usually a long, a slower form of shipping, but the fact of the matter is probably like 30 miles away. So shipped it one day, got here by the next business day, and it was like $8-9 or whatnot. He was selling it on there. I was surprised that there was no one else watching the auction on eBay. I was just surprised. I mean, there's a lot of Return of the Jedi, Star Wars, Laserdisc go for a pretty nice price, higher than this guy was looking for bidding wise. He was looking about $15 for a buy it now, but I just waited out and there was no other people bidding on it. So fortunate for me and everything, but I'll just have to grab it from the office tomorrow, check it out, make sure everything is as it should be, and I'll be able to enjoy it. So it's going to fit nicely with my exact collection, the CBS Fox ones. I think it's also the CBS Fox version, I'm not sure, but because there was a CBS Fox one, then just like Fox Home Video as they transitioned a few years later. So regardless of that, minor nothingness, but Blu-ray DVD time. So I did pick up the Warlock Collection, the Vestron Video Collector Series set, and I started watching some of this. I watched the first film, which looked really nice, because with these, was pretty much the entire Vestron line, they're not going in there and doing like big alterations to the masters or the picture quality or anything. They're not going there and like boosting up black levels and futzing with contrast or color timing. It looks very naturalistic. It looks very pure to the way you've always kind of seen these films over different formats and everything, but they still look very much the same. The colors, the contrast and everything, nothing's futzed with anything. I like that. They're not trying to do this whole thing like make it look as modern as possible to appeal to someone. These are niche titles being put out for hardcore fans of these films from the late 80s, early 90s, stuff like that. So it's like, make it for those people. Don't try to appeal it to someone else who's probably never heard of these films and is only really going to check these films out based on the fandom and word of mouth out there. So like, preserve them the way they're supposed to be. I like that, because it has gotten this being such a freaking problem in the Blu-ray age of things just being so tampered with so heavily. They change the color timing to make it more modern or whatnot, or they do heavy DNR shit and just make things look bad. Just like, it's such a complex type of jungle to weave yourself around. That's why I've got to check Blu-ray.com before I purchase pretty much any title, just to make sure that there's a nice review out there and they break down the specs and whatnot, make sure the presentation is the way it should be, there's not any real problems or whatnot, because you could end up buying something that looks really bad or just not the way you remember. It was like, I was looking at a comparison video of two different Masters of Jurassic Park today on YouTube, and I didn't even realize that there was any type of the 3D version had been tampered with that much. They altered the color timing, they futzed around with the black levels, they did all this type of DNR type of stuff, and because they did it in 3D, they had to do weird shit to the picture to kind of clean up edges here and whatnot around people's hair. They actually had to like paint out different strands of hair on like Jeff Goldblum's head so they could actually cut it out to be converted to 3D. It's fucking ridiculous. I'm glad I still have my old DVD set, the original like 2011 DVD set, which has those masters on it. So never went ahead and got the Blu-rays, so one day eventually, but that's a treacherous thing you get in with all these Blu-rays and everything. But again, I watched the first film, which I absolutely freaking love. I've got the old VHS tape from the late 90s with the SP mode version, which has like tracking issues and shit like that. It's like featherweight and everything. It's not like one of those big freaking thick ass heavy 80s videotapes. This is light, man. I don't need it anymore. But I've had like an iTunes download of the first film for years, whatnot. It's in widescreen, but regardless of that, now I got it on a nice disc. I'm watching 1080p and it looks really nice. I was trying to get through Warlock the Armageddon with Anthony Hitchcock's commentary, and it just wasn't very engaging. It had nice information to impart on fans and whatnot, the audience, but I just wasn't as disengaged with him as I am with that film. Julian Sands is the only compelling thing in Warlock the Armageddon. Everything else the storyline, the characters they put into it, even watching with the commentary, just doesn't interest me. The storyline of this film just does not interest me, about these small town America people who are like descendants of druids who force these two kids into this whole situation of having become the chosen ones to fight against the warlock. It just is utterly disengaging, especially when in the first film you got Richard E. Grant as freaking Redfern, as a fantastic actor, playing a very interesting character, having this guy who's on an equal footing with Julian Sands, this kind of equal type of bad guy and hero, whatnot. You get this this even playing field between the two, the balance of the hero and the bad guy in the film. Second film is like completely off balance. It's all Julian Sands, and anything else that's not involving him just does not intrigue me or whatnot. But I was going to watch the third film because it's got Bruce Payne in it. It's completely disconnected from the other two films, but Bruce Payne is the bad guy, and Ashley Lawrence from Hellraiser in it. So saw it a long time ago, didn't think much of it, but I'd like to check it out to see if it does engage me more than the second film, even if it is a direct-to-video film with kind of the things that the production quality stuff can kind of seep through, to see that, yeah, it's a little cheap on the budget or whatnot, but let's see if the story does engage me or whatnot. But I was thinking about doing a full Blu-ray review of this, whole dedicated video to it, but it wasn't going to be as easy as I kind of thought off the top, because as I was watching this stuff on Sunday, I was like, I'm going to have to rip all three films from the discs, along with some of the footage from the special features or whatnot. It's probably going to take like 6-7 hours or something like that to rip all this stuff off the discs and convert it. It's probably going to take longer to rip the footage than it will for me to freaking edit the damn video. So I was like, I don't know. And plus, I've barely gotten through any of the content. I got to watch all this shit, all these featurettes on the first film alone, plus the Steve Miner commentary. I'd probably be doing this for like another 2 weeks or whatnot, which I'll eventually get through this stuff. I will. But planning to do a review of it, I don't know. We'll just see how time progresses. But I definitely, when I got the inkling for what I wanted to do next as a proper review, I had to go forward. But speeding this up a little bit, I got Leon the Professional on Blu-ray, this mastered in 4K version, because I have Amazon Prime. Why the fuck not just grab it and buy it? Because I had to make some use out of paying the $10 or whatnot for the subscription for the month. So I went off and bought this because I've had the DVD for the longest time, but I knew this was mastered in 4K. Sony has done some really spectacular stuff with this series of mastered in 4K type of stuff. So I knew the picture quality was going to be fantastic. You have to sit down and watch this, because I haven't watched this in probably like 9 years. It's a long ass fucking time to not watch this film. So Gary Oldman's performance is the best thing I've ever fucking seen in the world. Norman Stansfield is a fantastic fucking character. Fantastic performance. Just one of the best performances anyone could ever hope to ever have in their careers. I never forget that performance. It's so fucking amazing. I'm gonna have to do a review of it someday. I'll have to review that film once I revisit it and get it all soaked back in. I'll eventually have to do a review of it. So, fuck yeah. And a couple weeks ago, I was whatever the case, I was looking to just buy some shit, and I went to Half Price Books, and they were having like a 50% off one item sale. So I got my Blade movies upgraded to Blu-ray. I have the DVDs for the longest time, and I just decided, what the fuck not. I got these for like all of like $10, $12 or whatnot. You can't go wrong with that. I probably paid less for the two of these than I did for this alone on DVD. Because I remember when I bought the first Blade on DVD, there was I was probably at Best Buy, and they had the old cardboard snapper case version. It was like, I would pay more to get the keep case plastic keep case version of this, just to have that better quality one. So I eventually went to like Suncoast in the mall, and they did have the keep case version. It was more because it was Suncoast. But, so yeah, I did buy that version. So I probably paid less with these two than I did just for my DVD of just the first Blade. And so, I mean, fucking Blade, man. I love this fucking movie. This movie's fucking amazing. I absolutely love this. This is probably still my favorite Marvel movie of all time. It's just so fucking badass. I mean, yeah, the CGI doesn't hold up, but it's fucking badass, man. Just fucking awesome. Blade is awesome. This movie's fucking badass. I love it. I love the hell out of this movie. It's fantastic. This is the film I went to. Here's a quick story, because I saw Alien vs. Predator in the theater, and I did have one of those free movie cash coupons or whatnot after I bought my special edition DVD of Predator. So I didn't pay any money for it, but the movie was so fucking bad. so fucking bad. I had to spend a weekend scrubbing the memory of that movie from my mind. And this was the first film I went to when that whole thing began, because this is such a fucking amazing, awesome movie. I've gone back to this a few times when something that bad gets into this brain and whatnot. It's that fucking bad. Pisses me off that much. Gotta go back to Blade. This is the comfort food. This is the fantastic shit that just like brings me back. Ain't gonna break Blade, man. Ain't gonna crack that shit. Blade 2 is okay. A lot of people love the shit out of it, but I do have issues with it. I do have structural story issues and whatnot with it. I have things. But it's been a long time since I watched it, so eventually I'll watch it as well. But you gotta get a Guillermo del Toro movie in HD. I mean, just the way he makes his films look vibrant and colorful and everything. You need it in HD. You can't just go that way. I mean, that's why I got Pacific Rim on Blu-ray, because I was watching it on like FX in HD. Is like, this thing looks fucking spectacular. I need to have the Blu-ray. Need to upgrade. But so, fuck yeah, man, Blade. Fuck off Blade Trinity. That thing was shit. It's fucking horrible. But oddly enough, it was that film, the marketing for that film, that got me to go back and actually get interested in the previous two films. So something good comes out of something horrible. So, but this is the last kind of thing I picked up or whatnot. It's a DVD copy and everything, but everything off of Amazon Prime, brand new. A movie called Night Watch. I know there's another film that's like a Russian film or whatnot, vampire thing, that's called Night Watch, but this was from 1997. And I caught this on Netflix a few years ago, and I was just kind of surprised that I just never heard of this film. Because this is Dimension Films release, again, from 97. And I was like, if I had heard anything about this film, have I seen it anywhere, if I saw a trailer or something, I would have seen this film long fucking time ago. This has Ewan McGregor, Josh Brolin, Patricia Arquette, and Nick Nolte. That is a fantastic cast. This is like a really good thriller. You need to watch it again. It's been a few years since I watched it on Netflix, but I just like, this is good stuff. This is a good film. This is a solid piece of work. This is a nice, good late 90s sort of paranoid sort of thriller or whatnot. Just like, let me just read the back of the box. It says, this edge-of-your-seat suspense thriller stars Ewan McGregor as Martin, a cash-strapped law student who took the wrong part-time job. He ends up working in a morgue and everything, so Martin's peaceful graveyard shift at the city of morgue fast becomes a time of terror when a serial killer begins wreaking havoc and leaving behind clues pointing to Martin's guilt. So, that's a nice premise. That's a nice, solid premise, and it feels like a late 90s Dimension Films release. It's got that sensibility about it. There's just something about Dimension Films releases around that time, for like maybe like 96 to 2000 or whatnot, that just had a certain look and feel and style about them. Something, for some reason, just has that feel, that kind of blue hue or whatnot, and that everything is, if you know what I'm talking about, if you've seen a couple of films from that time, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But this is good stuff. I'm going to watch this again and probably do a mini review on it. Probably closer to maybe Forever Horror Month and everything, which I've been doing a lot of thinking about lately. I've got some titles that I'm definitely going to do. Since like early last year, I wanted to do Invasion of the Body Snatchers 78. And that'll definitely be happening, because I've got the Blu-ray from Shot Factory from last year. My friend Oliver Harper, when he sent me a couple of Laserdiscs late last year or whatnot, he sent me the Abel Ferrara Body Snatchers film on Laserdisc and widescreen, so I'll have to check that out just to kind of add into the mix everything. I'll eventually have to see something of the original version from the 50s with Kevin McCarthy, and there's a couple other versions, but I don't really need to have to see the not well received Nicole Kidman, Daniel Craig one. I heard there were a lot of problems with that film. It wasn't well received, and I think there's news of it getting remade again. So I mean, which I'm not going to cry about. I mean, 78 versions of remake, and it's fucking badass. It's fucking amazing. That film is just absolutely spectacularly done. It shows exactly what you can do with a remake that has a good enough concept to weave it into a new time period, apply different social themes and whatnot. It's going to be a good review. Eventually I'll get around to it for Forever Horror Month. I'll definitely do that. And I had gotten the Vestron video Blu-ray of Return of the Living Dead 3, which I also was thinking about doing a Blu-ray review of, but I had gotten it so many months after its initial release, like maybe like 6 months or so. So I figured, you know what, I'll just do it as a regular review for Forever Horror Month. That'll be a nice thing where I can do the whole film and kind of tap into a little bit of the Blu-ray itself, talk about Vestron video series and everything. So that'll be nice. I think that's a nice thing to do. I think that'll be a nice change of pace. I'll do some zombie stuff. I'll do some sci-fi horror. And I'm just kind of probably limiting myself to maybe 3 or 4 films, depending on how soon I get settled into the new place and start shooting some content. We'll see how that works and see where the ebbs and flows go from there. So it'll definitely be another packed month, especially now that we got the commentaries going. We'll definitely have a lot of shit to come out, hopefully. So just want to say, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being around. Enjoying the content, whatever it is. If you like the commentaries, if you don't want to check out the commentaries, I still got all the Blu-ray news stuff. I got the regular reviews coming up, so it's still going, guys. Everything's still going. So that's all I really got for you guys at this point in time. If you ever feel like wanting to support anything with the channel, there's always the Patreon. If you're interested in it, you get some stuff that's early access to reviews and commentaries, stuff like that. Even the $1 a month stuff, you get the Blu-ray news videos and all the other stuff, the mini reviews a day ahead of anyone else. You get all the exclusive updates in between the times where I don't have time to sit down and do this, because if I'm working on other content, I want to kind of get that fast tracked. I want to put that as the top priority, to use the time that I have to sit down and edit a video for a couple of hours or whatever it is, instead of sitting down doing an update, editing the update, then going back to the thing after I just spent like 2 or 3 hours trying to deal with all this. So all that type of stuff. There's always updates on the Patreon. If you're doing $1 a month, that's fantastic. I would thoroughly appreciate anything. If you're interested, if you're not, just keep watching the stuff and hit the like buttons and the comments, all that type of stuff. That's the least of what I ask. So that's the least of what I'm appreciative of. If you're watching the content, they're enjoying the content, they're interacting, telling people, hey, go ahead and watch this stuff. I enjoyed this too. Maybe you will too. That's all I at least ask. So I'm just getting tired here. So oxygen. But regardless, guys, more content coming up real soon. So check it out. See you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.